My name is Eric Wiegand. I'm going to be your dungeon master.
I'm Carson, and I am playing Galileo.
I'm Macy, and I'm playing Estelle.
I'm Jack, and I'm playing Spleen.
My name is Isabel, and I am playing Ruby Hayworth.
I'm Jordan, and I'll be playing Bert Brazerius.
We have been to Salem, Massachusetts for the witch trials. We have been to Refrigerate Earth for Fruitcake Carnage. And I'm here to say that the campaign setting for Campaign 3 will be Spelljammer. This is fantasy Dungeons and Dragons meets sci-fi Star Trek Doctor Who madness. Ships crossing the Astral Sea. Enormous whales come floating by your ship. Aliens and ships that are shaped like various insects. What Spelljammer does really well is that it starts in a place of classic fantasy Dungeons and Dragons, and it just kind of breaks the mold from there. We'll be playing the official adventure, Light of Xaryxis. In classic Please Don't Kill Us fashion, we're gonna make it our own. We're gonna be having a lot of audience input in terms of what happens to these characters when they're up against enormous evil forces. And speaking of enormous evil forces, Wizards of the Coast, the publisher of Dungeons and Dragons, has been in some hot, deep water of late, and rightly so. Wizards of the Coast royally fucked up in making a species called the Hadozi. This is a species that we will not be using. Beyond that, Wizards of the Coast has been in a lot of legal trouble in terms of how they are treating the community that plays their game. If there's ever going to be a war between multi-billion-dollar corpo magnates versus communities of storytellers, Please Don't Kill Us will stand on the side of the storytellers. We wanted to play a published adventure because a published adventure in D&D is really special in that it's a shared experience with a lot of people who are going through variations on the same adventure. I would love to, at any point, make sure to shout out the third-party content creators from DM's Guild, Eventier, Atris, podcasts like Three Black Halflings, We Speak Common, and then also the entire Spelljammer Reddit, which is full of amazing ideas. We're always going to stand with the community because the community is what Dungeons and Dragons is made of in the end. Join us on January 26th, that is a Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for the live broadcast of Please Don't Kill Us. The magic of the show is you being there in the chat, literally changing the game. And I can promise you there will be some big, impactful votes that will change the lives of these characters that the players are now going to introduce for you one by one, telling you a little preview of the characters that are in store on this season of Please Don't Kill Us.
I'm Carson, and I am playing Galileo, the Harengon Artificer. He was taken from the Feywild with his wife and captured for this traveling interplanar zoo with Jack's character, Spleen, and they escaped, and ever since he has been looking for his wife. He is a huge nerd. I have always wanted to play an artificer because I think they're really, really cool. They sort of blend the magic and sort of physical world because they build stuff. I've never played a character where charisma is their lowest score. He is socially not very adept. His main through line is the love of his wife, and a lot of times when you think about these huge romantic stories, you think they're very suave, you think of sort of charming characters, and I love that this rabbit that is not very sort of socially adept has an enormous well of love. And this romantic storyline. I thought that that was really, really sweet. So I'm excited to explore that. My biggest strength is my huge gun that is the size of my head. Galileo has a giant gun that he changes the barrel on to shoot different things out of, his spells and arrows and other things that I will leave as a surprise for the audience to find out. So, do I feel similar to Galileo? I mean, I'm a huge nerd. Obviously, I'm in a D&D show. So, I also just got into a long-term relationship, which is Galileo's main vibes. I'm just realizing this now, speaking in this interview, that maybe that's influencing my want to have this sort of like a longing for a love. So that's cool.
Ruby is, hundreds of years old in tiefling years, but if we're looking at human years, she's kind of, 60s, 70s. She is Hollywood glamour, old Hollywood glamour. She used to run a cabaret. She's an incredible musician. She's fabulous. She's powerful. She is, someone that everybody comes to for advice over a cup of tea. I think that Ruby's biggest strength is probably her confidence and her love of, just her passion for life and for people and music and glamour and excitement. And I think she's a magnetic person and an exciting person and draws people to her. Ruby, I think, has a little trouble letting people in and being vulnerable. I think that she's been hurt in the past and she has some kind of dark history and she's lost love. She's lost a lot of the things that she's cared most about. So she keeps people a little bit at an arm's length away. I'm really excited to play Ruby because I think that in my life right now, I don't know, being in my 20s, being an artist, there's like a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of kind of trying to figure out what you want and where you're going. And I think that in this campaign, I was really interested in playing somebody who was really, older and secure in herself and trusted her instincts and her gut and kind of took no shit. I do think we are similar in some ways. We're both performers at the end of the day. We're both lovers of art. I think it's fun to think about the idea of playing somebody a bit older. I think there's this thing with young people, with women, where aging is such a scary thing. And I think there's something exciting to me about playing someone who is different than me in terms of, their background, obviously, and their age and who they are, but kind of moving in a direction of things that I do want for myself, and being, secure in who I am and my sexuality and my art and my life and all the things.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I am playing Spleen, a fairy monk. You don't see them very often. So Spleen is coming from the same sort of traveling circus that Galileo, Carson's character, is from. We were both exploited in this circus, but we escaped together. I was born into this circus, so I don't really know what life is like outside of it, which leads to a crippling gambling addiction for me. I don't really know how capitalism works. It doesn't work for me right away, so I have trouble sort of getting accustomed to that. He's going to have a lisp, and I actually used to have a lisp when I was a child, so I think I'm sort of digging back into my inner child. Spleen also, I think, will be questioning his sexuality throughout, which I think, again, brings me back to sort of who I was when I was entering the world and trying to figure out who I was. And I think Spleen is doing the same thing when he is escaping, or has just recently escaped from this circus. He has to sort of figure out life for himself and what that looks like, because he's never really had the freedom to be himself. I think Spleen's biggest strength is his muscles. No, I think a lot of people expect fairies to not be very strong, to be very dainty. I think this can be true, obviously, but Spleen can pack a punch, which I think is a really empowering thing for fairies. You don't have to be some little dainty little fairy. You can be hard as nails. I am most excited, I think, to play this longer campaign. So far in PDKU, our first 2 seasons were 4 episodes and then 5 episodes, and this one I believe is going to be 9, so I think we can really dig deep this time. Becoming accustomed and attuned to these characters, where we know we aren't going to have to move along to the next one so fast. We're going to be able to, I think, really deeply connect with these characters, which I'm really excited to have the opportunity to do.
I'm Macy, and I'm playing Estelle, a half-elf druid. She obviously loves nature, but pushes a little more into elemental nature. the Durirman elves, from which her mother comes, are situated up in the mountains and are very attuned to like wind and the weather. She is a little self-serious, but is, I don't know, fun too. I don't know what else to say about her. Her dad is an esteemed astronomer, so both parents and just all of, she's kind of divided between two worlds, but really values learning, but is warm too, has never met a stranger, and has a little bit of wanderlust, so she's excited to have met an adventuring party. I'm excited to play Estelle because it's really different than the characters that I've played in the last two PDKU seasons, I feel. Specifically the self-serious bit, I think will be a little hard for me. PDKU universe is made up of a lot of really talented actors, and that is not exactly my strong suit, but I don't know, I'm excited to push myself in that way. She has low charisma, technically, but because she's not jokey, but she's very intelligent and she's very wise and maybe thinks that she knows better than people sometimes. Even if she wouldn't always express it, she will probably do what she thinks the right thing is to do, even if it's not a group decision. Is a believer in leaving things better than she found them, but is not afraid of meeting violence with violence, is not afraid of meeting sneakery with sneakery. My friend Isabel said something earlier that really resonated with me about why she's excited to play this campaign, and it was, I'm excited to play D&D with my friends. And I feel that way too. Fruitcake, Carnage, and Salem were both from the genius mind of Carson, and I'm excited to play some pre-written content, and just play a little bit more of like a typical fantasy character, personally. And I want to giggle!
Hey, I'm Jordan, and I'll be playing Ernbert Brazerius. He's a dragon-born wizard, but you can call him Ernie. He is a loner. He's 16. He has left his family's brood at the age of 13. He's been wandering in the hopes of being at the top of the science game. He is kind of looking for where science and magic intersect. Where we find him is he is looking to hone in on his astronomy skills under the tutelage of Pat, who we'll meet along the ways. Really just gung-ho on his mission to become the best scientist of our time. I am a dragonborn, so you're imagining scales, honey. I've got green scales, long tendrils, kind of a 1900s Industrial Revolution, turn of the century kind of look. We got a white collar, little scarfy tie, brown vest, brown pants, and he always has a monocle. I think I'm excited to play Ernie because he's not like any of the characters I've played in D&D. He doesn't lead from emotion. He's very analytically minded. He's also quite selfish, which I would say that I'm more of a selfless person. I think Ernie's biggest strength is his independence. Leaving his brood and his family when he was 13 to pursue science and magic together. I think that leads him to be making decisions far beyond his age. I think Ernie's biggest weakness is his ability to interact with other people. I think we're both geniuses. I'm really excited to see what the audience does. I mean, this is Please Don't Kill Us. It is audience interaction. I want to see, the highs and lows. I want to see what they're interested in. I want to read the comments. I want to be, I just want to see what journey they make, It's all about their participation in this.
Make sure to join us this Thursday, January 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please don't kill us!